We are back, exact same rules, except for a new camera this time. You get it, 5 assets, 10 minutes. I'm making something in Photoshop. That's it, let's go. Okay, I'm in Photoshop. I'm gonna be a little ambitious this time. I wanna do a collage-y thing again, do like a really intimidating dude, maybe like on this fire background. I love this fiery background. Probably gonna blur this background just a little bit. I'm gonna try to make like a grainy thing going on. So I'm gonna grab this and then I'm gonna go up here, filter, gallery, grain, and then I'm gonna be using the stippled grain. Hell yeah. I want to make this guy into a collage. So I'm gonna isolate pecs first and his chest, and then I'm gonna grab his shoulders here and here. I'm just being like super chunky. We'll grab his bicep and then his forearm. And then over here, we'll do the same thing. So bicep, forearm, big chunk of his mid torso. And then we're going to grab like his abdomen. Sick. And then what am I missing? Looks like we're missing his pants, obviously. Grabbing his pants. For now, we're just going to grab his head. I'm missing a couple parts, so I'm just going to like grab a garbage mat here, essentially, of just all of that stuff. I'm gonna group these. I want this dude to have like huge, like fucking like orcs from World of Warcraft style shoulders. I want to make these bad boys massive, like football pads. I'm gonna bring these in and then try to position it a little better. And then I'm probably gonna sculpt them too. I don't want them to like actually look like football pads. So I'm gonna go in here and try to give it like a little bit of what a shoulder might look like, but chunky. Like if I cut it out myself, badass. Pecs, same thing, like fucking huge. My dude could crush you in the streets. Biceps, I might make the biceps like a little smaller and wider just to like exaggerate the size of his shoulders. And then his forearm, I think I'm gonna give him like, it's Luke from fucking Mortal Kombat 6. He has the biggest forearms you've ever seen in your life. I'm going to fix this. Actually, I might just leave it kind of rough. I like that edge, but I want to sharpen it just a bit. And I kind of like this mistake sort of looking thing on the left side. He kind of looks like Mega Man too. That's sick. And now I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Shrink this bicep just a little bit, scale it a weird way, and then scale this forearm way up. And then I'm gonna shape this too, so it doesn't look like he's Samus with blasters on his arms, but actually looks more like an arm. And then I'm going to grab his torso. I think it's my torso chunk. I'm gonna kind of, I think, warp it maybe. So I'm making it bigger. I'm gonna take a distort. Then I can grab any corner I want, and I'm just gonna pinch these sides in. I'm gonna try to give him that, you know, that masculine V that you hear about in art school when you're learning to draw people. What is this? What layer are you? I think I'm gonna bring this down, shrink it in a little bit, exaggerate it. Cool. This guy's looking fucking badass. I like the jagged, the way that like his side is sort of jagged right now. Okay, he's starting to look sick. I'm gonna make this bigger. I still want to exaggerate his head. I'm going to just start breaking pieces off of it. Ear, other ear, nose, and then I'm gonna draw his eyes on after. So I'm not gonna cut that out. Nose, lips. I'm gonna exaggerate that a bit. So we'll take his nose, make it a little bigger so you get those lines in there. That's honestly all I'm really looking for. Same with his lips. Just gonna make them bigger, more exaggerated. Maybe bring them down and over just to give it like a little something. And then we're gonna go these ears. We're gonna bring the ears up, bring them out, little other ear. I don't know if they look goofy. Yeah, they're kind of goofy. I might go for like somewhere in between. Let's go with this one, make it smaller. Okay, cool. Now we have him. I'm going to turn this into a smart object. I'm going to desaturate it. Wrong way to that's not how you desaturate something. I'm going to desaturate it. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to crunch my levels, really bring in that black point, bring in the white point, adjust where I want that mid. Something like that. That's pretty cool. And then I'm probably going to flip the top. I'm probably going to make more shadow coming in from up here, but I'll figure that out when I get to it. I want him a little bigger in frame. And then I want to put some texture on him. So I'm going to clip a new texture mask to it. I'm going to grab my halftone brushes, and then I'm going to do the good old classic. I'm just going to kind of paint over this whole thing with black halftone first, and I'm going to set it to overlay. That will give me like this nice texture. And then I'm going to come in here again. I'm going to grab a different halftone. This is maybe like a dumb thing to do. I don't know, but it looks cool. So then I'm going to grab a different halftone, and I'm going to come around here on these areas of like highlights and just kind of add a little bit of halftone in here. Do I want to add a highlight to this nipple? Maybe. Why not? Why not? And then same thing up here. I'm going to add some around the edge of his ears, like a little bit of rim light. Okay, that's sick. I'm actually going to now grab it like a natural eraser and just kind of delete some of it. I don't want it to be perfect. I just want it to be a little bit of texture on there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here, overlay. Actually, no, I'm gonna do an add. It'll just look more like adding light to it. I'm gonna group this. That's cool. Now I need to figure out what we're gonna do with this background. So I don't love this. Delete smart filter. Maybe if I go into this filter gallery, maybe it's a matter of just flipping my colors, honestly. So if I'm gonna come in here, black, and then maybe maybe I don't even use black. Maybe I use like a red and like a really saturated orange, like two super saturated colors might look kind of cool as a background here, especially where he's black and white. So I'm gonna go filter gallery, do the same thing. Yeah, that looks fucking sick. That looks so much cooler. So I'm gonna do that. That looks awesome. Okay, he's already popping off. I'm gonna convert him to a smart object again. What does it look like if we make his head black up here? Copier brush. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna grab this and just kind of add here to my dark areas, keeping it super rough. And then I'm gonna go in here, I'm adding a layer mask, and then I'm going to go back up to my kind of classic trick of I'm gonna grab this just noise brush and I'm just gonna paint something like this. I want to get some of those facial features in there, but not all of them. So I might like reduce the size of my brush a little bit and just be a little bit more targeted with this. If you look here closely, I'm adding detail to the edge of this grain. Cool, I love that. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna add an inner shadow to tie him in with the background a bit. So I'm gonna add a red inner shadow. I'm gonna make it coming down perfectly vertical, and I'm setting it to an add to make it look like light, and I have my distance set to 9 because I just want it to be a little bit on the inside. That looks cool. And then now we have all these other assets. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I'm thinking like I'm going to use these for texture, and I'm going to use these for like embellishments in my scene. So I'm going to come in here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 eyes out of this. That will be like my, I guess, cheat code to use this like gold texture. I like the gold texture a lot, but I don't know. I mean, I could put these in as like design elements too around, I guess. Like these could be just actually, I like that idea. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to add these as like design elements in the background or something. So I'm going to put like a big circle back here that I'm going to clip it to. Great clipping mask, delete, delete, delete. I'm going to grab this, put it in the background, see what I can do with it. Maybe we put like, okay, that looks pretty sick. I'm going to turn this into a moon, I guess. Happy accidents. I'm going to set it to that. I kind of like having it be flipped though. Like that's, the darkness is kind of cool. So maybe I will actually leave it like that. And honestly, like the contrast of the blue and the red is pretty badass. So I think I'm going to just let it be. I am going to come in here and add soft grain to it though, because if you've watched one of these videos, you know I love soft grain. That looks sick. Okay, now we just need to, we have like this scrap. This is actually coming together really nice and really fast. I'm kind of surprised. So we're going to cut out pieces of like this tech scrap. And I just want these to be like embellishments around to build our scene, I think. I'll put some in perspective, almost like he's going Super Saiyan and like all this stuff's floating. Like I just kind of want it to look like garbage. So it's kind of the perfect use for this photo of garbage. Here we go. I'm just going to dupe these. I have a few. I'll probably also put these out of saturation. So just completely desaturate them. I might invert them though. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to crunch them, and I want these to be white heavy because he's so dark that I think these will pop off really nicely if they're not. I'm just going to break these up so I can kind of space them out around him. Putting this here. I'll probably put this guy maybe like behind him up here. And I'll add blurs to these in a second to try to make them blend with our guy a little bit more in our scene. This guy here, let's put it like just slightly overlapping his shoulder. And then this one, these two I like being down here, but I think this piece feels maybe not the right scale, or there's something off about it. So I'm just gonna kind of position it to draw our eye through the composition. I like these. I'm going to put a field blur on them. So I'm going blur, blur gallery, field blur. That lets me give 2 points. So how blurry I want it here and how blurry I want it here. So I want this one not blurry. I want this one blurry as hell. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm actually not going to use that field blur. I'm just going to use a Gaussian blur for speed. Is it pronounced Gaussian blur? I always say Gaussian blur. Is it Gaussian blur? I don't know. Gaussian blur on this again. That looks cool. I'm going to merge these layers. I'm going to put noise on it again. Y'all know me. I have one texture I need to still use. It's this guy. Which, like, what am I going to do with it? So I'm just going to draw a really chunky flame. Thank you, all of my high school notebooks for this one. That's sick. And then I could take that, clip it to it. Great clipping mask. Oh, that looks really cool. I'm gonna take my adjustments, bring this back, and then I'm gonna use like a gradient map. So it lets me set different colors for my luminance values. So where it's darkest, I can choose a color, and then where it's lightest, I can choose a color. I want something similar to that orange that we're using everywhere. Maybe it goes to yellow. Yeah, it goes to yellow. And then maybe like in the middle here, we put like a white band. I love that. And then I'm going to add also, like if there's fire up there, there needs to be fire down here. It just doesn't make any sense for there not to be. So same thing. I'm just going to dupe this. I'll bring it down. And then I think we might want one like in the foreground too. Something like that. And then maybe a couple other embers like just in the sky to frame up our comp. And grab this again, bring it up in here, clip it, create clipping mask, bring it down, adjust the scale just a little bit. I'm going to blur it. And then I'm going to put our noise back on it. And then finally, I think we'll add like some eyes to this guy, and I'll grab my background layer again for that. I'm gonna give him 2 eyes, change the position a little bit. I think I might change the color. That's cool. Maybe I'll add like just a glow to these. I'm gonna put a dot of each, set it to add, and then I'm gonna come in here, I'm just painting out. And then just because it's something I always do in my stuff, I'm probably gonna like just add some scribbles to this. I'm gonna grab like a noise, like Kyle's hard brush, and then I'm just gonna give us some details, give a little bit of interest, and then maybe we can put this like behind our subject, behind all of our stuff, and done.
Wow! It's Sea-Venge! Sea-Venge!